We've got some top video sellers on this session today. Let me tell you, we're going to talk all through the good, the bad, the ugly, the ups, the downs, and what's working well, and what have we tried that maybe hasn't worked so well. So let's start with Kat on this one. I want to hear your perspective. Like, take it back to like day one-ish when you first were like, ooh, I'm going to hit send on a video and not type out an email or do it, or not use a pigeon or whatever it might be, right? Do you remember like what that was like? What were you concerned about? Were you like freaking out when you hit send?
Yep, and yep. So yeah, I remember it being incredibly daunting, and I'm not an extrovert by any means. Like I'm quite introverted, or at least I used to be, less so now. And I remember it being very, very scary. And I think it's like that fear of just being on camera in general. I think we all have that a little bit, some more than others. But it's also kind of very similar to the fear that you do like when you make your first cold call. It's new, it's something you haven't done before, and like every seller making their first cold call, they were scared, but then you start doing it. And the more and more you do it, the less scary it becomes and the better you get it. And that's what I did to overcome my fear in video. I was like, just do it. Just do it.
I'm pretty extroverted. I grew up with siblings and dancing and performing and video cameras in our basement. So I'm, used to doing that. And criticism, doesn't faze me either. But when you are sending something for your job or to make a sale or a first impression, it's totally different, right? Like, how do you speak? How should you, be prepared? What's your call to action? How long should it be? And just like Kat was saying, to get started, and when I kind of look back of when I really started using video a lot for sales and marketing, just 4 or 5 years ago, really not that long ago. I was right there with her. I was like, okay, I'm just going to make the video and pull off the Band-Aid, and, hopefully it sounds, like a great first impression. And I feel like another concern for me at the beginning was my accent and how I'm going to sound on video. And I think that was just kind of a personal fear of mine, just because I'm from the Midwest South, and I've worked in markets before where if you didn't have a certain accent, they didn't take you seriously. I found out everybody had the same fear. So it doesn't matter if you were from like the Northwest or the South or Canada. Everybody has their crutch words and different accents. And I feel like if you're just honest and transparent about what you're communicating with, everybody's going to make that connection.
I think everyone hit on it, like practice gets you comfortable. I think what also helps is once you have success with it, remember back to that. It's kind of like cold calling, right? I look at it the same way. No one ever remembers you after you've called them. If you have a crap call, they're not going home at night and like thinking about you. It's the same thing with video. If you had a crappy video, great thing is you could probably actually like deactivate the link. I don't know, the video I could probably tell you how to do that. But like at the end of the day, no one's really thinking about it other than you. And I know that can be hard and you can get stuck on it, but it's more about just like think back to that last one that you did what was awesome and leverage that and you'll feel good about the next one you put out. So I think with anything, practice makes you feel good, but also just leaning on what's worked for you and not shying away from that. And everyone, I think if we're talking about humanizing the sales process, everyone's human. If you're putting out a video that's perfect, that's not human to me. I think you naturally going to have some flaws in your videos, and you just got to live with that.
Specifically as it pertains to video, what's y'all's approach around like how you're structuring it?
Yeah, I think going back to find what works and then double down on that. So I think if you've tried something that's worked for someone, take that framework, take the structure of that, reuse that. So I'm a big fan of, I'm a process person myself. I like when there's some process. So if you have a bit of a framework, I think that helps, especially if you're doing a volume play and you have to get a lot of videos out. I'm sure at some point we'll talk about the value of like generic videos as well. But I think that's one thing is there's nothing wrong with having a bit of a framework to follow. And if you're not sure what to say and you say, like maybe you put a video together and you're not sure about it, ask a colleague to have a look at it, see if they think it's in line with what you're trying to accomplish. And they should be able to give you some good feedback, and then you can tweak from there if you had to.
My framework for sending videos is, really similar to what tech people are doing as well, because we are selling customer service and, we're helping people make their home decision. But really at the beginning of every video, I like to, make a little sign that like has their name on it and hold it up in the video. So like this one, like chat down your takeaways, and I'm a big fan of using that as a Giphy or a GIF, however you say it in your part of the world, because I like to post that into the emails. And I really feel like that's eye catching. So that's just kind of like a framework of how I send my emails and start it. So I like to really start every video with something that's personal right out of the gate. Hey, Raj, it was nice to meet you today. I'm so glad we got to look at that 1 bedroom, 1 bath. You and your dog Furry are going to love living here. And I've included a few links to your favorite apartments below. Be sure to start applying tonight. And it's just literally that quick, 15 seconds. If I'm doing a video for maybe a relationship I'm trying to establish with maybe an athletic department or the HR department of a hospital, different major employers around my area, I always want to send something personal as well. And I look them up on LinkedIn, find a fun fact or maybe a part of their country they're from that I could build rapport with, and find something to break the ice in that video that's going to want to make them call me back or check out our property more.
Do you have any like go-to openers or hooks to get people to actually want to not just click play, but then watch it through to 97 or 100%?
I do send a lot of them through LinkedIn. That's where I get the most traction with them, and where I get the most opens and watches. But I think a big mistake that I made when I first started doing them, I was kind of going in and saying, "Hi, I'm Kat, I'm sales," and all these kinds of things. And I'm like, nobody cares. So I just go straight into it now, like, "Hey, I'm reaching out because," and I'm very kind of formulaic about the way I do things. I'm not super creative. I'm not very funny. Like, it's just not who I am. But I am very formulaic. So I have a very strict process. So for a prospecting video, I go with, okay, I'm reaching out because trigger event, I've seen something like you're hiring, you've gone through this growth. This is a common problem that people face, that are doing the same right now. This is how we help solve it. Are you interested in learning more?
Are there other places besides top of funnel outreach where you're using video? And if so, how are you using video in other stages of the sales process?
So a couple of ways. One is if you, by chance, I'm a big proponent of reviewing your proposals with the signing authority over the phone, over Zoom, whatever, what have you. But there's some cases where you're not going to get that access. So you can use video or Vidyard to basically run through a proposal review for your signing authority. So you're directing at them, almost like you're having the conversation, you're walking through the proposal. And that's a great way to make sure that you've clearly communicated what you're putting in front of them, the value of the proposal itself.
We actually will use Vidyard too, since we're so heavy in programming and our fitness programming properties, because we're a really active lifestyle brand. So we will send out videos of our current social calendar or what's coming up on Tuesday, or happy hours that we're going to have in our co-working side. So people can kind of plan their month. So we love to send those out. I also like getting my teams involved that maybe are kind of behind the scenes. So like your maintenance guys and girls, sorry, or your concierges, people that aren't kind of always in the sales, window there, but, because they're doing so many things behind the scenes and they are really the backbone of our industries of, helping the properties operate day to day. So having fun videos of including them, for instance, we'll do like a maintenance tip of the week with anything you can fix with a screwdriver. And so we'll have our maintenance guy, give a tip, and then we'll upload it into our video library. I like to use the screen recording. So when you are maybe working with a teammate across the country, or they can't find something in your Google Drive or your SharePoint, right? We're always looking for stuff in our SharePoints. I'll just hop on and do a quick screen share and video and say, hey, this is where it's located. Here's the path.
We have a question. Someone's saying, my concern is like, are my videos going to be too goofy? I sell to accountants and the prospecting videos I send are fun and cheesy because that's my personality. But should I try to tone down my videos?
I know not everybody is fun and goofy. There are some serious people out there you know, that don't have time or are really busy. And it just depends on who you're sending that video to. So I really highly advise just maybe do a little LinkedIn search, do a Google search on who you're sending that video to. And if you need to maybe tweak your personality a little bit, it doesn't always have to be goofy. If you need to get to the point, build that rapport, break the ice. But it doesn't always have to be fun and goofy if it needs to be more serious. So it really just depends on the personality of who you're sending the video for, because that's how they need to be communicated with.
I make so many videos for cold outreach. I rewatch them, hate them because I waffle too much, and then send another boring email instead of the video. How do I get over this?
I've been there. I think what's really important is to have a structure for your video. Like have a script. Don't necessarily script it out word for word, but use a framework. So before you go and send another video and then waffle too much, we all do it. I do it as well. Sit down and think about, okay, what do I want to say with this video and what's my objective in this video? And just break it down into those parts, like the introduction, why you're reaching out to them. Then, well, you can use my framework, the problem solution. There's tons of different ways that you can do it. And then the call to action. So before you do your next video, try and do that first. And that should make a difference.
Best practice in terms of video length. What's your read on that?
I think under a minute.
Kat?
Yeah, 60 seconds or less for prospecting. If it's anywhere else in the sales cycle, 2 minutes max.
Carol?
Speak a little bit slower than you normally do, so people can really understand what you're saying, and have a good background or lighting. That always helps.
I'm going to be the oddball out on this one and say, if you send a 30-second video that has zero substance to it, that's not automatically better than a 90-second video that you're able to get them engaged the entire way through. So I wouldn't be like, oh my God, my video's at 62 seconds, I have to redo it. If it's quality, I think that's what's most important. You want to make it concise, but don't be like, oh no, it went 61 seconds, hit the re-record button. Really focus on, are you saying something of value?